Well, after finishing Pokemon Sword and Shield, I have to say that this game is perhaps—
No, hold up right there, son. Back in my day, Pokemon was the most innovative franchise of all time, with the demonic subliminal messaging in all the songs. They're too much of wimps to add that back, and I will not tolerate anyone thinking that Pokemon Sword and Shield is a good Pokemon game, you hear me?
Okay, this is a little weird. I'm gonna have to call the cops on you.
Wait up, buddy.
I just came back from buying my 5th copy of Pokemon Shield and my 4th copy of Pokemon Sword, all of them from GameStop. I could steal from them, it's GameStop, no one would care, and I just have to say, this is the greatest game of all time. The Game Freak really outdid themselves here. It doesn't matter that my wife and kids left me because I dedicated my entire life to this game. Oh my god.
Don't listen to him. He is nothing but a rascal that sucks Game Freak off. This game is the spawn of Satan, and anyone who likes it will be taken in the rapture. Shut up! Watch your tone.
3.
3 out of 10?
This game will help me get custody of 3 of my kids? You have 3 seconds to get the out because I'm calling 911.
Yeesh, you got an attitude.
What a douchebag. Okay, back to what I was saying. So after playing Pokemon Sword and Shield, I have to say that this game is perhaps the most controversial in the franchise. Yeesh. I really need to stop putting my address at the end of every tweet I make. Usually when a new generation of Pokemon comes around, people go wild for it. There's a new season of the anime, directs hyping it up, merch, new Rule 30 fan art. But if you do find any Rule 34, that is illegal, especially Sonia Rule 34, so let me know if you have any and I will confiscate it. But Sword and Shield is a bit different. Now the hype started off fine because we saw the new starters and some new features. But the fact that this was the first main series game on a console meant that people expected Pokemon to go to the next level. People were expecting a redesign of the game kind of like Breath of the Wild and Odyssey. They thought the 3D models were finally going to do justice to the Pokemon. This was going to be the definitive Pokemon game. And we got Apple. Flying Apple. Back when the game was shown off at E3, fans were absolutely devastated when they heard the news that not every Pokemon was going to be in the game. And this led to people finding a bunch of problems with the games and forcing Game Freak to make a statement. And everyone hoped that their protesting worked and the national dex would be restored. And the statement was, nah fam, here it is, the Galar region based off the United Kingdom, now with less Brexit. As soon as you start up the game, you are introduced to your rival, super effective move specialist, Hop. Now I know people online are saying that Hop is the worst rival in the history of Pokemon. And I can just say that is absolutely not true. He is the worst character in the history of Pokemon. Okay, he's not that bad, you kind of feel for him at times, you know, from constantly getting his ass kicked by you because he insists on using Wooloo for some reason. So this idea actually sprung into my head while I was playing. What if this was his Joker-style origin story? Like halfway into the game, he's just had enough of losing and just turned psychotic and became the most evil character in the franchise. And somehow he's still surprised that you know about super effective moves. As for the other characters, it's Pokemon, man. The characters are just there to give you shit. Okay, Sonia, for the last time, I can buy revives at the store. You don't need to keep giving them to me. But a couple of them are kinda important, such as Chairman Rose, Bede, Marnie, and Ball Guy. I don't know why, but I feel like this man is not allowed near a school. Now, Marnie is one of your other rivals, who is not as much of a pushover as Hop, and does have a team of fans supporting her called Team Yell. And I can say without a shadow of a doubt, they are the worst team in the franchise. They do nothing but just annoy you. They have no purpose except being gym leader. I mean, I know that Pokemon teams don't always have to be super threatening, but this is in the UK, man. Can they at least pull out a knife or something? We also have Bede, who I did not realize was a guy until they called him he. That turned my whole world around. His purpose is also very bare bones. He just has a Kanye West level ego and thinks he's the greatest Pokemon trainer. I guess he does sort of have a character arc near the end, but you don't care at that point. And we also have Chairman Rose, who has broken the record for shortest time taken to find out they're the bad guy. God, look at his fit. I know he's undercover, but that's all I needed to see to know that he's worse than Hitler. Oh, and of course, who can forget the Champion Neon and his super powerful Charizard? I mean, who can forget? You're reminded every 2 minutes. Have you heard about Champion Neon? Champion Neon and his Charizard. I love Champion Neon. Leon, have my babies. I draw lewd arc of Neon and his Charizard. Oh yeah, and yourself. And I can just say that I messed up the moment I named him the TheChrisDex because the grammar did not work during dialogue and I could not change my name. But I did make him look like an edgy anime protagonist, so there's that. Well, I'm gonna talk more about the controversies later in the video, but for now I'm gonna give my thoughts on the game after having completed. But I should probably mention that I broke my left Joy-Con the day before the game came out, and I didn't notice until then, so I didn't have time to fix it. So I had to play this entire game with the right Joy-Con, while my left Joy-Con sat there in shame thinking about what it's done. Now, it would be pretty hard to play a Pokemon game without Pokemon. You know, Game Freak tried, so I'm going to talk about some of the new ones. Colossal is the best Pokemon in the game, and I refuse to hear otherwise. So as I mentioned earlier, the removal of the National Dex meant that this game would only have around 400 Pokemon, and there were some notable omissions such as every starter except Charmander. But to be completely honest, I didn't notice it at all. Now, maybe you're one of those people who has the same team in every game, or is very loyal to a certain Pokemon. I can see why you would be mad, but for me I usually just use new Pokemon from the region with a few exceptions. I'm nothing without Gengar. There were 81 new Pokemon in this game with 13 regional variants, and these are the best designed Pokemon since Diamond and Pearl. These Pokemon designs are fantastic. Some of my favorite are Duraludon, Colossal, Alcremie, Hatterene, and Corviknight. Oh, and Craplocked, who for some reason is not a water type even though he's an octopus. Oh yeah, and this motherfucker just waits to jump your ass, like what's his problem? The starters on the other hand are not good. I usually am already sold on one of the starters before the game comes out, but not for this one. All the designs were little to humanoid besides Rillaboom, so that's why I went with Grookey in my playthrough. Oh, and he has a stick, and that's cool, I guess. And there were some regional variants added in this generation too, such as Obstagoon and Weezing. Obstagoon being the evolution of Leoon. Oh, and Galarian Ponyta. Who can forget those fools who watched the 24-hour livestream just to see one quote-unquote new Pokemon? Okay, 24-hour livestream. I wonder how much action-packed content we're gonna get. I stopped watching after 5 minutes. Now with the new generation comes some brand new stinking features, and this game had a whole 3 of them, and 2 of them were just variations of old features. So first up we had Pokemon Camp, which would be the replacement for Pokemon Ami, and I am the proud owner of the Used Pokemon Camp More Than Once award. I used it twice, one of those was a misclick. Yes, this really didn't do anything for me, it was just there. I mean, I guess playing catch with your Pokemon was fun at first, and seeing them interact was alright, but it was just boring most of the time. Oh yeah, and who can forget the hundreds of curry recipes added? Yeah, who needs a hard mode when you have curry? I didn't make a single play. I still think Pokemon Ami was better because it was a lot more simple and you could train up your Pokemon in a more specific way and get some cool rewards in the process. But I guess Pokemon Camp could be fun for some people. Now I know you like Pokemon, so I present you with a brand new idea. Okay, hear me out. Pokemon, but big. Dynamaxing was the natural successor to Mega Evolution and Z-moves. The gimmick is that once during certain battles you can go into Dynamax form, which would make your Pokemon huge, increasing all of its stats. Now Game Freak presented this thinking it was going to be an epic Godzilla vs King Kong style battle. It wasn't. Not even slightly. Now I just think this idea could have been good in theory, but it just wasn't used enough to be memorable. I mean, look at it this way, why would you spend your time looking for a Dynamax Pokemon knowing you were only going to use it a couple times during the game? Most of these designs aren't even that creative except for Snorlax. That one's perfect. I still think it's better than Z-moves, but everything is better than Sun and Moon to me, so. But I still don't know why Mega Evolutions were removed. They were perfect. They gave the Pokemon a creative new design while giving the player an advantage, but not one that is too overpowered. And you could use them in any battle, which made them way more useful than Dynamax. And finally, the last major feature we got was the Wild Area. Now this was what I was most excited for when I saw the trailer. I can freely move the camera, if I had two Joy-Cons, and you finally get the open world Pokemon experience everyone's wanted. You only go to twice in the main story. Now when the reviews for the game first came out, there were very different opinions on the Wild Area. Some people thought it was too barren and not enough was going on to warrant the size. Other people thought it was the best part of the game and that it was revolutionary. But my opinion is, it is aight. Yeah, although I do agree that the place does seem a bit empty at times, I never really felt bored exploring it. There were different terrains throughout the area and oh my god, that is the cutest thing I've ever seen. Oh, I'm about to f***ing murk him. But the real reason I found this area fun were the raids. God, these are amazing. These are single-handedly the best part of the game. I really wish there were more battles like this during the main game. Sure, you do a couple of them during the post-game, but for the most part, I felt that there should have been more of them to spice up the battles. Now after you complete a raid, you get a plethora of items such as TMs and XP boosters. Now this does have a drawback/advantage, and it's the fact that rewards make your party way more powerful, like to the point where the gyms in the rest of the game become incredibly easy. I only did 3 of them during the main story and that was 3 too many. And they aren't that hard either. There was a damn Magikarp on my team and I still won. I still felt like these were a welcome addition to the game. Now as for what else to do in your wild area, you can race your bike. Now this is a Pokemon game. Overall, I enjoyed the wild area, but it could have been way better. I really wanted the entire Pokemon game to have this sort of style, but ultimately all we got was this. Which isn't bad at all, but it just leaves you with a what could have been feeling. Now as I mentioned earlier, the raids were my favorite part of the game, and you can do them online with other people. Don't do that. That is a very bad mistake. It gave me PTSD.
Yeah, that goes for all of the online in the game, and I know this is a common theme with Nintendo Online, but this is just another level of horrible. The moment you turn on online in the wild area, you're committing genocide on all your frames. At no point did I ever want to play online again. Even the regular online battles are bad and feel so slow. They're still playable, but I think I'd rather play Pokemon Showdown. Now, when the game first got shown off at E3, people went into hysteria about the graphics. They were saying that they were exactly the same as the 3DS games and that they were reusing models. And the damn tree. Don't worry, I found that tree and told it how disappointed everyone was in it. Honestly, I don't care about graphics in a game, especially not a Pokemon game. I mean, these are the best graphics in the game, and some of the towns look gorgeous. This is definitely an upgrade from any of the 3DS games. And as for the post-game, well, there's about an hour-long side plot in order to get the legendary Pokemon. There's the battle tower, which is fun for a bit, but I just got bored. And you can rewatch the credits. You know there's a problem when IGN says that rewatching the credits is one of the fun things you can do after you finish the game. But somehow, the post-game is still less than the Pokemon games that came before it, like Sun and Moon and Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, which makes no sense to me because when we make such a big leap in system, we expect a little more. Which is something I've said a lot during this video because that's the thing about this game. It's better than any of the 3DS games, but it just isn't enough. It's okay for Pokemon to have its own style and graphics, but what's not okay is for the biggest media franchise in the world to make a game which is almost identical to the games that came before it. I'm not saying this is a bad game at all. No, I think it's a really enjoyable Pokemon game. It's probably my favorite 3D Pokemon game. I had a lot of fun playing it because there was a lot to enjoy about it. But then you take a look at the price tag and you realize that it's exactly the same as Zelda and Mario Odyssey. And if you compare those games to the ones before it, you realize that Pokemon falls way behind. There's such a lack of inspiration and ideas in this game. And the thing is, besides the wild area, everything I liked about this game has been done before. Actually, if you take a look at it, there's less to do. But as I said, this is still a really good Pokemon game. It's just that I've already played this game so many times in the past. And to be honest, I really don't want another game in this region. There was nothing unique about it. I'd rather play Diamond and Pearl remakes. I'm just wondering whether the next generation will be enough of an upgrade to warrant buying it. I think the most that can be said about this game is that it shows that Game Freak has mastered the art of mediocrity, and it can be seen so many times during the game. But with the low quality animations, uninspired character designs, I just don't think this game's enough for a Switch Pokemon game. So if you're a fan of Pokemon who has liked every single Pokemon game, then I recommend you buy this game because you're going to like it. But if you're someone who wants a fresh and brand new Pokemon experience, I would buy this at a hefty discount. Not that it's gonna matter, I only contributed $60 to this, so I am not guilty.
Oh wait, I forgot to talk about the story. I mean, so did Game Freak. Yeah, I find it so annoying that anytime some major plot point happened, the game would literally tell you to go do anything else. I mean, could you imagine? Whoa, something exciting is happening outside. But no, Pokemon Sword and Shield taught me that I have to conform to all social norms and that my life is laid out before me, so I will go do my math homework whether I like it or not.